Hello, everybody. Welcome to your weekly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Not only are we going to look at the next 7 days today in this collective forecast, but we're also going to tackle a really cool special topic. The one that all of you voted on today was tapping into your higher calling and owning your superpower. If you watch my readings enough, whether it's the weekly ones, the daily ones, or any of them, you know that I firmly believe that we are all capable of accessing what's considered magic. It's basically just the capacity for you to manifest, for you to push through perceived barriers and do things that other people don't understand, because basically you are tapping into source. It's kind of like you're the magician, right? So I'm going to help you today figure out what kind of energies are calling to you from source, and then if there's any blocks around you, how you can maneuver, how you can push away, or how you can forge your own path so that those blocks don't impede your higher calling. All right, so great topic choice. Thank you so much to everybody who voted. A reminder, you can always vote every Saturday. It's Friday night and Saturday morning, and members actually get a chance to vote twice, so thank you to everybody. Whether you voted once or twice, I appreciate it. Quick reminder of the format for today. We're going to begin with channeled messages, and I got so many last night that I was actually waking up and talking out loud. Many of them were about how to have, I would say, impactful conversations, because a lot of times when the other person isn't receptive, or where we feel like we're just kind of talking to a brick wall, it can be frustrating. And I have some messages from your higher self and from your guides that I want to share with you. So that'll be part one, which is the channel messages. Then we'll break out the next 7 days. And I believe we have a new moon happening here on Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that new moon. And I think there's an eclipse as well. So I'll probably do a separate video on Tuesday covering that energy. But today we'll focus a little bit on it as we look at the 7 days. And then I'm going to break down a little bit more what's coming through in the next week. And then we'll eventually get to that special topic today as well. Okay? If you haven't already done so, please hit the like and subscribe. It helps with engagement and helps other people discover it. Plus, then you'll be sure to not miss any upcoming videos. You can also follow me on social media. It's another great way to stay connected. And every morning that I put out a live video, live premiere, or something new that's unannounced, I always share it on social media. If you'd love to show some support, you can do that here in real time using SuperStickers, SuperChats. You can become a member, or you can gift a membership. All of this is optional, but it's a great way to give back. And again, I'm going to be doing some special member-only videos starting next month. More to come on that. I've already asked members what they're looking for, and I'll keep you posted. So thank you to everybody that's joined. Just a quick reminder, I never use direct messages on social media, and I don't offer private readings. So if anybody is trying to pretend that they're me and they do either of these two things, that's a quick way to know that you're not dealing with the real Nicholas Ashbaugh. I just like to remind folks that whenever I have a chance. All right, so let's get into your channeled messages. Again, today, so many came through, really powerful, and I think ultimately these are going to be helpful. We'll begin with the dream messages first, and really they all came from dreams today. So the first thing that I saw was aloe vera. And then the other things here are going to be so helpful. One was about finding a way to kind of break the ice and make an authentic connection, knowing that you can't force it, using the law of detachment to that end, and then also really paying attention to nonverbal cues, because people are going to be showing you rather than telling you how they're feeling in this next 7-day period. Let's get into your first totem for today, which is aloe vera. I want to start with breaking out what the etymology or meaning of the two words are. So I did some research. Aloe is Arabic in origin, and it means shining bitter substance. If you've ever gotten the edible or food grade version of this, usually in a liquid format, usually mixed with some other things, if it's not sweetened, it's very bitter. I've had this before and I was like, oh, that isn't at all what I thought it would taste like, because if you use the topical form, it's just clear. And for some reason, I thought it would just have a mild flavor, but it doesn't. It's pretty bitter. So that actually is a quite accurate first part of the name. Vera meaning true, and that's a Latin-based word, and it makes a lot of sense. Like in Spanish, verdad is, truth. So if we put this together, it's kind of an interesting totem, because it means that the truth can be bitter, but the plant itself is all about, it has healing qualities. So the truth is healing. It can hurt a little bit at the beginning, but it has the capacity to also free you and heal you and liberate you, which is why I chose judgment as the representation of the totem. And I think that this is a beautiful energy to be coming through. It's also hardy because it's a succulent. It's not a cactus. It still needs some water, but it can do with drier periods. And I think that that shows the ability to withstand things that other people may not be able to. So an inner strength, the ability to take and basically digest something that may be difficult to hear at first, a truth, and then to be healed from that truth as well. So in this moment in time, the universe is encouraging you to be honest with yourself, to be honest with others, to accept somebody's truth as well. This is the hardest part, is to be on the receiving end of something that we may not expect. But if you love someone unconditionally, if that's their truth, that's their path, and you don't have any right to judge that path or that truth. Same is true for you if you're telling someone else and they can't see or love or support you unconditionally. So it cuts both ways, and that's the main message is the truth may be hard to hear. There may be a little bit of pain initially, but ultimately it heals and it allows you to grow and become something more than you are right now. So that's actually the first step in owning your superpower and really leaning into your ability to connect with source. Is you have to be true with yourself and you have to be authentic and true with others. The star card would also connect with this, but I like judgment because it is about bouncing back and also growing beyond a perceived block. There always is the capacity, like a phoenix, to rise above. All right, let's move into the next message with this, and this is about not rushing any connections. So this is the part that woke me up last night. What I was observing was a conversation where it felt like the person was in a position of authority, whether it was, a teacher, a mentor, someone that's in, a legal or law enforcement sort of capacity, someone who felt like they had the right to tell you what was right or wrong. And they also felt like you had to listen to them. Now, here's the frustrating thing. They were pushy. They went straight to the point rather than connecting with the person that they were trying to communicate with. They just directly got to the business portion of it. And for any of you that have had someone that has just come in a conversation, and it's kind of like when you open the door in the middle of winter and this blast of air comes in, or if you take a dive in a pool and you expect it to be warm in the summertime and it's chilly, it puts your system into shock for a second. So I felt it from both ends because I'm empathic and I was kind of between the two. And neither person was me. I don't recognize who these people were, but I'm assuming that all of you can connect with these messages because you might find yourself over the next week on one of the two ends of this. So for those of you that are in the authority figure role and you're trying to get someone to listen to you, it could be your child, could be a subordinate at work, could be someone in your life that you just really care about and you feel like you have sort of this mothering or fathering energy where you can help them out. What you want to do first, and it was so easy, the person that was receiving said, this is too much too fast, like just ask me how I'm feeling. The person did that and they said, just let me talk a little bit first. Once they did that, they said, see, now you know where I'm at. Let's have a little small talk first. And for some of you that are impatient and very to the point and work oriented, very practical, this could be frustrating. Go through the motions. It's going to help the other person get to where they need to. It's an icebreaker. So begin with something as basic as, how's your morning been so far? You can also ask a very effective and an important question, which is this a good time to talk? That not only is going to begin, you may be able to avoid that other question because they'll volunteer. They'll say, oh, it's been really difficult. Can we do it this afternoon? Or, yeah, I'm completely open. Thanks for asking. Either way, what you've actually done is let them know that you care, invited them to agree to the conversation, and then you've started this back and forth. And it really is kind of like a game of tennis. You go back and forth and exchange who's going to, have the lead here. So, or it's like dancing too. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. So start it off that way. See how they are. Ask a couple of other questions too. Show that you care or you've connected with them before, especially if this isn't your first conversation. You could say, oh, last week you told me about this. How did that work out? Do something like that first, then get into it. Say, well, by the way, the reason that I was coming over today was, and then you can get into that. That will be received more than, hi, what's going on with this? Or, hey, did you finish this yet? And the person feels like they're on the defensive. So create this sort of, this subtle flow of energy back and forth, and it's going to go better for you. Let me read through some of the bullets and we'll talk more about this as I go through it. So if you demand, like let's say you take a position of power, like you have to listen to me, then it becomes authoritative. Then it does feel paternal or maternal, but not in a good way, like Empress, Emperor energy, and the person doesn't have any control, and that's not fun. And I saw the person rebuffing. They don't want to listen. They push back even though they're supposed to listen. Trust is earned. So trust and also relationships in general, that's something that develops over time. They are established, not guaranteed. And if you think of, I always like to use this example for those of you that travel a lot. You can't just take one plug and have it fit in every city that you go to across the world. There are all kinds of different voltages and all kinds of different plugs. And even when you get the adapter, it's not a guarantee that it's going to work. So one size doesn't fit all with relationships, with conversations, and you need to figure out how to connect first, and then you can try to make the connection. Start by truly empathizing and showing the other person that you're present, and then ask some questions. Think about who are they? Who is your audience? How do they feel? What are their blocks and concerns? And how are they dealing with things right now? Because if you can't establish that common ground, and if you're not checking in on that, then you're just throwing orders and you're talking, you're not listening. You're talking at, you're not talking to. Break the ice too. Another way that you can establish a little rapport is say, I have some stuff I want to talk to you about, but I need a coffee. You want to go and grab it first? We can talk as we do this. We'll multitask a little bit. It's on me. So make it like, take it out of the energy of the office or home or wherever you're at and say, let's grab lunch. I have some things I want to talk about, but I'm hungry, you're hungry. We need a break. And then it's kind of like you're doing a little bit of team building with them. All right. This works on all levels. And if they say no to that, then, say, well, we still need to talk. What time works for you? At least give them an option. And that will help break the ice. Because otherwise, I saw frustration, and the person that was in authority was surprised at how little effort it took to create more of a rapport. And the person that was receiving that sort of little bit, that they were like, oh, thank God the person's actually opening up a little bit. They care. Small efforts yield great results. And that was what I saw here. Okay, so the best way that I can describe this is the difference between cats and dogs, and I've owned both. Not owned, I've cared for both. So in the background, we see Apollo resting back here, chilling out, and dogs are great. They're okay with being, petted. They love that connection. Cats want to come to you and tell you when they're ready for attention. And so what I was getting was cat energy for the week ahead for a lot of your connections. So for those of you that have dealt with both animals, you know what I'm talking about. If you ignore a cat a little bit, if you pretend like you got better things to do, that cat is going to then feel neglected and come over there and put its tail in your face, and suddenly it's all about you. So one thing that you can do while manifesting connections, like if you're trying to get someone's attention socially or romantically, or even again at work and they're busy, find something else to do and focus your time and energy on. They're going to feel the detachment. They're going to feel more open to connecting with you because they can breathe a little bit. And then when they come into your energy, it might be a little bit of the reverse thing where you're like, oh, yeah, I was focusing on this, but yeah, sure, I can carve out some time for you today. And now you have a little bit more power because you're not solely focused on them, and it's a little bit more even. You both need some time and you're both making time. So channel your inner cat and find a way to connect with other people in that cat energy as well. The important thing, and I have to underline this, is wait for their invitation, consent, and approval. So the person that I saw in the previous conversation, they tried to reach out and kind of like pat someone on the back, or reached out for a handshake or whatever, and the other person wasn't ready for that yet because they were angry that the other person hadn't checked in with them and was just pushing their energy out. So don't overreach literally when it comes to kind of like trying to make physical contact. And again, it could just be a handshake or a pat on the back. You got to wait for an invitation for that stuff too, and you have to make sure that there's consent for that. And it was better to do it verbally. The person in my dream and meditation said, no, let's talk it out. You don't have that right yet. We haven't established that familiarity. So don't be overly familiar this week unless it's someone that you truly know. But even then, it feels like talk it out first. Okay? Everything is going to be better if you talk it out and figure out where that other person's at, because it feels like there's some blocks on their part, and you need to understand that to be more effective. So the cat is maybe another totem that came through today. Hopefully this makes sense for you. The next big piece for you is that this is a chance for you, and this is how, again, you're going to tap into source, is to decide, am I happy with this person, place, or thing? Is it worth my energy and effort to stay? So are you going to stay or go? And if you're going to stay, are you willing to put in the energy and the effort to affect, to change, or to maneuver through what I see as bureaucracy or gatekeeping? If you do, as we look at the cards today, some answers will be revealed on how to kind of work through that. Otherwise, you have a chance to forge your own new path. I see the Hierophant as that question because the keys are there and it's saying, do you want to have me unlock the door, or are you going to be your own key and find your own way? Because you get that choice now. And that's basically it. Are you going to stay or are you going to go? If you stay within a structure, rather than butting heads with somebody, see if you can find allies. See if you can find, I don't want to call it like loopholes, but I will say areas where there's room to build or room to navigate, because every structure has like an unfinished basement or a closet that hasn't really been built out. There's going to be a space for you where you can affect it a little bit more, and that may be enough for you. And if it's not, again, there's a choice, stay versus go. And that's the big sort of question this week as you're looking at existing structures, existing relationships, existing jobs, and existing projects. There's something about it where it's either too inflexible for you, or maybe there's just something that's inviting you intellectually, inspirationally to go down a different path, okay? And finally, this is, again, an underline of what we've been talking about, focusing on nonverbals. So words are powerful, they're amazing, but they don't tell the full story. And this week, because I was seeing so much kind of like intricacies with the communications, I really want to underline the nonverbal piece. So I put the moon here because the moon card represents things that we want to talk about, think that we see, potentially know exist, but it's sort of like, I don't know how to get to the point. So focus on what you're picking up on and then ask a question. That's a good way. So what I said here is that tune into the silence between when you're communicating. How long is it taking someone to reply? What are they doing when they're quiet? Focus on facial expressions when someone is talking to you. Are they engaged? Do they seem bored? Do they seem impatient? Are they anxious? Whatever's going on, that's a cue. And then the tone of voice says so much. Also, little things like sighs in between. If someone's taking, when you're saying things, you're like, okay, what's going on? How are you doing? Something I said triggered you. Ask a question. Don't assume anything. Be inquisitive. And then when you ask the question, hold space. Create some silence so that they can truly come in and you can listen. There's something that's under the surface. It will be revealed. It will be healed, just like the aloe sort of totem was allowing for. But the truth can be difficult. There might be a constructively critical element to it that you have to navigate. But I have faith in your capacity to do so. And this is a very important week with respect to communication. So I hope that all of these messages help you out with that. Let's just quickly walk through them and then we'll get into the 7-day forecast. So the first thing again is aloe vera. Aloe vera is that truth element that will sting a little bit, but will also heal and reveal. You can't force a connection. Trust is earned. Relationships develop naturally over time. Use an icebreaker to warm up the conversation and really find out where that other person's at. Use cat energy this week. I have no better metaphor for that. Watch some cat videos and you know what I'm talking about. Let them come to you. Don't overreach. Don't assume. Ask, wait, and see what happens with that. And again, if there is no connection or no communication, that's still a form of communication, and it's saying focus your efforts and energy elsewhere. Big question for you then is, once you've gotten a lay for the land, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? If you're going to stay, are you willing to do the work that you need to do to change and grow in that space? Finally, just pay attention to what people aren't saying. And if they are saying things, pay attention to the tone and the mannerisms connected with that. I'm a very animated person because I know that helps convey the messages to you. Okay? Powerful stuff this week, important stuff. I hope it helped. All right, let's go ahead now and quickly review what we're going to do next. Again, we're going to go into the 7-day forecast and take a look at all the ups and downs and figure out how you can be most empowered and most effective. So let's turn the camera down, look at that 7-day forecast, and go from there, okay? And this is going to take us from Sunday to Sunday. All right, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you had a good weekend. I can't wait to see what this 7-day forecast has in store for us. Big changes today, we can see that already. Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, let's just get everything arranged and we'll talk through this. All right, just a quick note before we do this. Reminder that all parts of this reading are for everybody present. That's what collective stands for. And the only part that isn't is the elemental forecast. But this is going to be for everybody. All right, let's focus on the energy for today, Sunday. And it's the very powerful card of transformation, symbolized here by the Death card. Death is sometimes misunderstood with respect to tarot. To me, it represents the opportunity to let something go so something new can come in. It's the end of an era, but the beginning of a new one. It does not mean that there will be a lack or an absence just because of the change. And if we were to kind of connect this with the whole special topic today, the ability to have a superpower, think of someone like in the X-Men, Wolverine, for instance. He's able to regenerate, to come back. The Death card is that as well. We see the Ankh, a symbol of immortality. So the human soul lives through many lifetimes. The body may not persist, but the soul energy does. In this lifetime, we can go through a situation. The situation may fall away, material goods may fall away, relationships may fall away, but we continue to persist, we grow, we connect with that immortality, with that immortal soul of energy that's always available to us. And this is a chance for you to realize that you are stronger than whatever block, whatever loss, whatever situation you're going through. It could be a health challenge. It could be an emotional challenge, maybe both of those connected. It could be going into or out of a situation, because when we start something new, it is also the end of something else. So ends and beginnings are always tied together. They're not always seen that way, but the exciting thing is that you're ready to turn a new chapter, ready to turn a new page. Today, you may feel emotionally triggered. You may feel a little bit of intellectual or I would say cognitive clutter, and the opportunity for release exists in those spaces. The fear associated with, can I exist beyond this title, this relationship, this loss of a physical thing? Yes, you can. Yes, you will. You have no choice but to do that. That is the nature of you and your soul. And think of this. This is a big sort of energy that will help you. The universe started somehow. We don't understand if it was a point or if just everywhere it started to expand at once, but this much is pretty much well accepted at this point. The universe is expanding. So we, as a part of this universe, on a planet, in a solar system, in a galaxy that is moving, we're all expanding. It is not the nature of the universe to contract. It is to expand. So every experience, including a loss or transformative experience, is ultimately to help you move further, faster, and to a position that you would never have imagined, because that is the nature of the universe. So you're not at an end point. You're moving faster towards a new beginning. Okay? And that's what death has to show for you. You could be experiencing something that's significant. Again, this could be someone stepping away, something falling away, but it isn't. That's not the point. There's something beyond that. And she's basically a key. Death is a key, not a closed door. Now let's look at the week ahead. So starting with Monday, this is the relationship stuff that I was picking up on. It's going to be better, by the way. So by the time Thursday comes along, whatever friction existed Monday is going to be gone. But let's look at Monday first. So we have an overwhelmingly positive card here, 6 of Cups. This is friendship. It can be sibling energy, best friend energy, or someone from the past. It can also be this sense that you really feel like you could have something special with someone. Now, the card in reverse means that, again, you want to give people space and time to meet you where you're at as well. And you have to meet them where they're at. So 6 of Cups reversed. For some of you on Monday, you get a second chance to basically right a wrong. If there was something that you you wish you could have said or done to make a relationship stronger or better, you have a chance on Monday to improve the relationship, to extend an olive branch. It could be an apology. It could simply be calling someone and saying, you know what, I've been meaning to talk to you. I'm so sorry that I haven't checked in. How are you? It was nothing intentional. I've just been busy myself. So you get to reconnect and you get to give them some space and allow them to meet you when they're ready. Okay? And that's the most powerful thing you could do on Monday. There could be someone incoming. You could be the unexpected party here where you're busy with your life. You've decided, I'm going to prioritize work. I'm going to prioritize personal health and fitness and my own sort of development. And suddenly, because the universe has a sense of humor, somebody comes into your life, a new friend, a new love interest. And it's inconvenient timing because you focused on something else. You are detached. The law of detachment is working here, but maybe not in an expected way. So I see someone either coming into your life or you trying to enter into someone else's, but you have to wait a second. It's like knocking on the door. See who comes and how they sort of show up when they answer, if they answer. Okay, so it's a day of making connections, but allowing for those connections to organically develop. And it may just, for some of you, be the initial receipt of a message or the initial delivery, and then you just let things go. Again, enter into the cat energy, focus on something else. Now, if we take all of that and put it to the side, this is a good day for negotiations. It is a good day to send out an invitation, to initiate contact. So if there's something important to talk about, to say, to do, etc., and this isn't about like second chances or romantic connections, it's just basically saying, let's get the ball rolling on Monday. Don't expect that everything will be resolved, and definitely don't rush it because you may end up prematurely sort of like ending something before it even started. So just be cool, calm, collected, and know that you're doing the right thing by kind of taking it easy on Monday. All right, focusing on the energy of Tuesday. This is a day where you can get to business. We have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is reversed. This is about picking up on the nonverbal cues. This is about developing your ideas, not overthinking them, maybe engaging with someone else to check and see, does this make sense? Knights are not afraid to take a pause. The way that I interpret a reversed knight is basically saying, I can save more time right here by fixing this, by checking on this, by taking a break, than if I were to just charge forward. And that's basically what this knight is saying. And it is in regards to ideation, brainstorming. And so don't overthink. If you're worried about something, put it down for a second. Go take a walk. Focus on something else. Talk to someone else. What do you think about this? Listen. You can gain more speed, traction, and productivity by pausing, listening, and welcoming other ideas into your energy on Tuesday. And then you can start to pick up the pace. We still have a knight. They can still move it forward. So that's basically it. Pause before moving, think before moving. Don't overthink. If you're getting into that energy, then shake things up a little bit. We get to midweek on Wednesday, and we have a big emotional card here, the King of Cups, basically reversed. And this is saying, of all the days of the week, this is the day to practice self-care. Now, you're going to be still able to connect with all the power of the King of Cups, which is creativity, being attractive, attracting others, also being really connected to your intuition. It's a highly passionate, compassionate, empathetic, and creative card. And so all of that stuff is possible midweek, contingent on one thing. You have to make sure that emotionally, physically, and energetically that you're balanced. So I would say starting with the day before so you can really tap into that. Monday and Tuesday, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Today, when you're listening to this, make sure that you're getting rid of things in your schedule or in your energy that don't suit you. That way, by the time the middle of the week comes through, you're going to be in the sweet spot. You're going to be able to really be powerful and be the magnet that the King of Cups is. Because to me, the cups symbolize a big satellite dish. So if you are able to point it in the right direction and say, yes, I'm ready to receive, then you will receive. If you're looking to complete yourself because you're lacking certain things by plugging in, then that is more codependent. That's not going to be what it needs to be. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to do things that balance you out. But when it comes to new love or professional engagements or things where you're going to have to basically shake on that and make a contract, make sure that you're balanced before doing that first, okay? It is a good day for love and romance. The person that you call into your life could need more from you than you might be ready or willing to give. So again, communicate your needs and your boundaries as well. Because the King of Cups reverse can be someone who really is ready for just jumping in romantically, or they are emotionally very, either they need a lot or they want a lot. And again, you have to check and see if you're ready to give that. Overall, these are great cards. These three are great cards. The reversal of them just means that you have to do an internal check to make sure that you know where you stand and where the other person stands. Very nicely connected to the channeled messages. It is about constantly communicating and checking in. We start to have a nice breaking point as we get to Thursday and Friday. Thursday, the card is upright again. We have a lot of reversals this week, but that's okay. This card is saying, now I am ready to start something new. So again, the eclipse energy and the new moon started on Tuesday. That's why I think we have reversals here. But once we get to Thursday, it's looking really, really good. We have the 10 of Pentacles upright. This, my friends, is the day where if you have anything that you want to do with a bigger group, it'll be well received, because this can represent family or social interactions. If you want something, you have a good chance of getting it. We see that beautiful line of pentacles leading to the home. It is energy of home and contracts as well. But overall, this is probably the bright spot of the week for you. So say yes to invitations this day. Have a conversation about money, or it's something that you need that day as well. Pay attention to matters at home as well, looking at, the structural integrity, if there is any home improvements or things that need to be done. Thursday is a good day for that. It's just a good day to get to work, to get business done, and to spend time with people that you care about. Okay, so great energy kicking off the latter part of this week. As we go into Friday, we have Judgment reversed. And let's go back to the card that I had featured with Judgment on it, which was the Aloe Vera card. But it's not accidental whenever we see a connection here. So bringing up this card again, I was talking about truth being the freeing force. And we were talking about the etymology, or the word meanings behind aloe and vera, which is like bitter truth. And aloe itself is a healing plant. So the truth at first may seem a little bit bitter, but it can lead to something stronger, something better in the long run. Let's look at this card and break it down a little bit more. All right, so as we look at this, we'll turn it upright so we can see it. Judgment represents an inner call or an inner knowing, and that's so connected to our special topic today. Basically, what is your higher calling? And so for some of you, you already know on some levels. There could be disbelief, and that is actually what Judgment reversed represents. This is your higher self or God or the universe calling to you. This is the path that is in front of you. The reversal of this is a fear or an anxiety. Can I do it? Is this real? Am I sure? And the truth of it is that you're never going to be 100% certain that anything is going to work out as expected. But you can be certain that, does it feel right? Does it make you passionate? Is it something that if you don't do, you would regret? If any of those things, you check it off and say, yes, I'm very passionate about it. This would be a regret if I don't try it, and I can't stop thinking about it. That's your calling. So this is a day where you get to realign. The alignment comes through. There may also be something handed down to you where it is not acceptable to you. And I did get that energy from, again, maybe someone telling you to do something. If they're too abrupt, if they're not connecting with you, if they're not tuning into what you think about, I'm now reading it from your perspective, not that higher source, then that's not the right one. This isn't the right space. And it's time for you to unplug from that and plug into something that's more receptive. So this is a day to get real and decide, all right, am I in? Am I out? Why am I holding back from this? Because truthfully, the work started on the day that you're watching, on Sunday. You already know, but Friday is the day where everything starts to come into fruition. The other thing here is Judgment is reincarnation. So if this is the end, this is the new beginning. And you can even see it as illustrated here. It's a stairway that's leading to something higher, something brighter. Let's look, I always like to contrast it with a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card. But in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith illustration, you will see the souls rising from the dead. To me, that's like the phoenix rising. And that's basically saying this is something better, something newer, something different. It is not the end. So whatever you perceive as being final, it's not. And you will bounce back from this. And you may have a chance to already go into that energy and you feel this sense of, wow, this is what it was all about. Okay? So Friday, things are clear. You start a new chapter. You let go of something. You finally understand and you stop fighting what is maybe obvious to everyone else around you but you. And so it's a day of acceptance as well. Now let's get into next weekend. Next Saturday, we have possibly a call and answer card. This could be you waiting for someone or something to connect with you. The answer could actually come through on Saturday. But just as a card itself, we're seeing things starting to ease a little bit when it comes to sensitivity, emotional heaviness, because we're going down a suit here. So things are starting to relax a little bit. You're starting to get more in touch with yourself. And with this card, because it is more in a maternal energy, it's also saying, I'm ready and I'm willing to take care of me, myself. So once again, there is an encouragement to focus on emotional stability, mental health, also physically feeling well. So anything that you need to do, like if it's going and getting a massage, if it's talking to someone, if it's just relaxing and sleeping in, or whatever you can do, take care of your emotional side and do something to spoil yourself and nurture yourself when it comes to next Saturday. It is a good day for love, but again, both of these love cards were reversed, which are basically saying self-acceptance, self-love, focusing on just your own emotional state. It has to be balanced first. So you take care of you, then you can connect with others and you'll have more to give. As we look at a week from today, there's a decision to end, and you can do it today or you can wait a week, but basically we're seeing the end of a chapter. And sometimes we need to have a bitter pill, right? And so it could be someone saying or doing something in such a way that there is, without a shadow of a doubt, no way that you can continue on that. So there's something that comes through where you don't like it. And that's what I see it on next Sunday. But it emboldens or empowers you to make the right move. We could take that one sword and get an ace and take the appropriate action. And that's what 10 of Swords or 3 of Swords does for us. It disambiguates, it clarifies something. Because when you're in a 10 or a 3 of Swords moment, there's no doubt what you want and don't want, or what you like and don't like. There's no doubt in what's causing the pain. And that clarifies what you don't want to connect to anymore. So healing is the main thing that you can focus on next Sunday. And for some of you, not getting overly emotionally upset over something that it feels like you see coming, because these cards are highly receptive. This card, it's basically you have 2 chances to accept it. If you do it here, I believe this card will go away. But if you don't, then next Sunday, something in the universe will come through to help you make the decision. So make it before then and don't worry about it so much. Also, we could look at the 3 of Swords as a chance to heal the heart. So is there something in your life that you don't like or don't want? Work on that throughout the whole week, whether it's a relationship, a habit, or something that's just been weighing heavily on you. Take care of your heart across the whole week, and then you can move this into something better. There are different cards that can connect to the heart. 3 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles, holding on to something, Ace of Cups, 2 of Cups, Lovers. Let's pull in like Ace of Cups, 2 of Cups, Lovers energy instead of the 3 of Swords or the 4 of Pentacles, which are all about contracting and constricting. And remember, we're all about expansion. So do whatever you can this week to heal so that it can be a different heart-centric energy that comes through a week from now. We'll take a look at it next weekend. Next weekend's going to be so powerful because we'll be right on the precipice of, I'm going to do 2 back-to-back videos. So next weekend is the 30th, but we will do a special video on the 31st to connect with the basically Halloween energy, which is the energy of the thin veil, basically, and All Souls Day or Day of the Dead. So it's a chance for us to connect to those who have departed. It's a chance for us to move into a new version of ourselves, definitely connect with the energy of judgment. So don't worry too much about this because part of it is going to be dealt with during those 2 back-to-back readings, the weekly collective and the Halloween special. So I'm not surprised to see that, and we'll deal with it together. So you have a chance this week, though, to heal a little bit. Do as much as you can, and I'll help you again when we meet next weekend, okay? So that is the 7-day forecast. Let's just look at it quickly and connect all the threads, and then we'll get into the next portion. Today, Sunday, you're being asked to change, to move into something new. You have 3 portals for this to happen. The most empowered is today, the most obvious is Friday, and the most challenging is next Sunday. So I would say deal with it today if you can. Monday is all about relationships, but there's give and take, ebb and flow. It's a dance. Don't overstep, don't overreach. This is a chance to resolve things that have been left unresolved before. So all you have to do is sort of send out the initial communication and then wait. Again, entering into that cat energy will help you. We see a lot of productivity coming through on Tuesday. Don't overthink. Don't be afraid to take a break. Do feel willing and able to receive other forms of feedback. Connecting with others can help you. Take care of yourself on Wednesday. Self-healing is going to be the most important thing, and prioritizing that over putting too much energy into others is going to be key. You get a good chance for exchanging of energy on Thursday. This is the day to do big business, big meetings, anything with money, anything with contracts. Friday is a largely revisionary sort of energy. It's also a chance for you to accept or understand something. The truth of the matter is you've already decided, but this is the day of acceptance and a day to embark on something new. Whatever wasn't dealt with today when you're watching this, it will be dealt with on Friday. If you push it off, it's going to be dealt with in a different way on the Sunday that follows. As we look at the weekend, again, self-care taking center stage. Creativity and intuition's pretty high this week. Again, we're getting close to 3 pivotal events actually, because we have Halloween and Day of the Dead. We also have a new moon, and we have a solar partial eclipse. So that's why this week is so intense, and that's why we're getting these 3 points that are really kind of powerful. And healing ultimately is what is coming through next weekend. We'll have a chance to look at it together, so don't worry. All right, let's take a look at what's next. We're going to be moving from the 7-day forecast into blessings and blocks. Let me go ahead and flip the camera down. We're going to move the cards around to get a little bit more space, and we'll go from there. Okay. That will do it. All right, so I think I'm going to use a different deck for this just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And I know you guys like it when I'm pulling from different decks. So we'll use, let's see, what is this one called? We'll use the Prisma Visions Tarot. It's been a while since I used it. All right, so for the blessings and the blocks, let's shuffle the cards and see what the messages are. For the blessing, we have the 7 of Wands. And for the blocks, we have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. So let's talk about these two. So again, we're looking at blessings and blocks. Let's begin with the blessing. So the 7 of Wands, this is a card of being able to basically make something work. It's kind of like that catchphrase from Project Runway, make it work, right? It's a pushy card. There's a cool new deck that I've been using where we see like this very muscly guy pulling at the bars and being able to kind of like escape a perceived block or prison. He's a strong man getting through that. The 7 of Wands shows that you can not only handle any challenge that comes your way, but you can thrive, you can multitask. We see this person tiptoeing across all of those little points on the pier and moving towards the sun in the horizon there. So you're going to achieve what you need to achieve. The road may be bumpier. An amount of effort that you're putting out, it may be a little bit more than what you expected to, but can you do it? Absolutely. The blessing here, though, is also in knowing that you don't have to do it alone. For me, 7 of Wands, let's look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. It's a chance for you to work a little bit more intelligently. Work smarter, not harder. And that doesn't mean that you're lazy. It means that you're going to be able to conserve and engage your energy in a way that allows you to go further. So here we have the 7 of Wands in its traditional illustration. So sometimes it feels like everybody wants everything at once. So one of the things that you can do with 7 of Wands and also 6 of Pentacles is simply say, no, not now, not yet, or just a full stop no. So using that simple pushback, this isn't acceptable, or I'm not ready, or no, can help you quite a bit. That frees you up to say yes to the things that matter, okay? So that's the main thing. You can handle anything that comes your way, but you have a chance to work a little bit smarter and not burn yourself out. And knowing this is what's going to be the blessing. You'll recognize this pattern or habit before it burns you out, and you're going to make smarter decisions because of that. Your block for the week ahead is the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. There could be an opportunity that's presented, but it requires change and movement. Let's look again at all of the cards on the table. So one of the big things here is maybe letting go of something. This is an open door. Look at how beautiful. Well, let's pull it back to the camera. So we see the ace on the door and we see that bright light behind the ace. So this is an invitation, an RSVP, if you will. And for some reason, you've decided to say no to the RSVP. It could be because you're just not ready. You're not ready for the time, the energy, or whatever it is that you need to put out there. It could be because you're afraid, if I don't do this, this is appealing, but I'm not, what am I if I'm not this? Whatever that could be in this relationship, in this title, it could be a habit that you've been doing and you're very connected to that, but there is something else that's calling. And that's the big sort of block, is the fear of opening a new door. So you have 3, again, opportunities to accept this invitation. I would say this is going to be the most challenging. I would say today actually is the best day, but also Friday you get a second chance. So if you need to buy some time, you might get 3 or 4 days. The sooner you do it, the better. There could be an opportunity where maybe the trade-off you don't get what you need on that trade-off. So you could then be saying, yes, I'm interested, but let's say, for instance, there's relocation. You could try to get someone to pay for the relocation. Or there's something that you can't give up. Maybe you say, this is a package deal. Like if I'm doing it, maybe it's your puppy. This would be a package deal for me. Well, then my dog's going to have to come to the office with me or something like that. You'll figure it out. You have some sort of a package deal where you're going to negotiate for that. By the way, going back to the weekly spread, the best day for you to get what you're asking for would be Thursday. Friday, it's a little harder, but Thursday is very good. So if you have to negotiate a hard bargain, this is the day. This is the day you may throw out the option, but you could come back to the table on, so that would be Monday, but Thursday is going to be a lot easier for you to get what you're asking for, okay? And that pretty much is the blessing and the block. If something's not good enough, you can always push it away. If you're a little bit afraid or you need something more, ask for it. Communicating is key. Again, one thing that I've been saying over the past couple of months is you never know until you ask. And if you ask in a way that is non-confrontational and just in your sort of power, then if somebody says no, then that kind of like emboldens and empowers you to move on because you know it's not the right thing for you. All right, let's go ahead now and move into the elemental forecast. This is the only portion that is going to be specific to the signs. I think it's a fan favorite, it's mine as well. So let's quickly break out all the different elements and then we'll get into the special topic. Fire, earth, air, and water. All right, for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, we have the 10 of Swords coming through. This 10 of Swords, as I pulled the card and as I'm focusing on it, the main message from Source is basically consider the source. And for some of us, we can let a word, an action, some sort of feedback get under our skin or in our heads in a way that it shouldn't. So everybody has an opinion. Is the opinion constructive? Is it helpful? Is it just something that could be coming from a place of jealousy or fear? What you want to really do is kind of put that to the side and continue to hold firm to who you are, what you believe in, and know that other people's words can only go so far. So this is a chance for you to really separate the words and the source from your own energy and your own power. The 10 of Swords also represents oftentimes a full stop. I talked earlier about the power of the 3 of Swords. And I said, change can happen with one of these 2 cards. The 10 of Swords is the absolute end of something. So if someone says or does or shows something in a way that it just really doesn't resonate with you, the gift in the 10 of Swords is clarity. And that's one thing that we see with this too. All the swords pointing towards her. She knows now what she wants and what she doesn't want. There's a choice with the 10 and with the 3 of Swords. Is this enough? Are you ready? Can you move beyond this? Because if you can, then there is literally nowhere to go but up with the 10 of Swords. Once again, I'm going to go to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck to show what the blessing of the 10 of Swords is. And it's a new day. It's a new dawn. We often have to move through the difficult cards like the Tower or the 10 of Swords in order to clear something in our path. So here's the traditional 10 of Swords. I like to remind people that in one of the sort of murkiest cards in tarot, even in this one, there is hope. So we see a new day breaking here. So today, this week, whenever you happen to see this, if you've gone through a challenge, if it's been a little bit difficult, the clouds are starting to clear. So the environment often clears before our head space does. So the opportunity this week for you is to clear your mind, to clear the slate so that things can start to improve. So after the Ten of Swords would be a page, something new, something better, a development. So it's kind of weird. Swords is the odd man out suit where, it doesn't feel as good when you get to the 10. 10 of Wands, 10 of Cups, and 10 of Pentacles. They're all fantastic. 10 of Swords is a blessing in disguise. Someone saying goodbye, something exiting, something falling away. It still carries with it the promise of the page, the knight, the king, and the queen, or the queen and the king that follow. So don't lose hope. You just had to go through a more significant and more, in some ways, clear endpoint than the other 10s provided. So figure out what you want next. That's really what this 10 of Swords is all about. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, you know what you don't want. What do you want? And what are you going to do this week to help bring that into action? Because again, the Page of Swords would be next. So it would be an action-based card, something where you say or do or open up some sort of a door. And remember that the block this week is that there's already a door open, but you may be hesitating. So I feel like for whatever reason, fire signs, it's going to be a little easier at some point. If there is a hard and fast no and that door is open, you might have to just figure out if there's nothing else, that's probably the best option. Or if you need a little bit more, I said negotiate it, but that door is still opening and beckoning you in. It feels like something else is exiting. So you're connecting more to the Death card and the Ace than any of the other signs so far. So I would say don't be afraid. We see something ending, something beginning, some hesitation in the middle, and it's just about clearing the mental slate and you'll be okay. All right? Let's move from fire to earth. For Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, you actually got a card that appeared in the 7-day forecast. You have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups came through in the reversed position on Monday, which is basically saying for you, you have a little bit more openness than some of the other signs this week with respect to being able to open doors, have effective conversations. And the key message here is you can really elevate what you're working on by connecting with other people. Look at the beautiful balloons here. And the interesting thing with this one, though, it does connect with what I said way back in the channeled messages, which was that sort of feeling of one person being superior to someone or expecting someone to listen just because of, power or rank or position. So we see someone bigger than life, and then we see the Six of Cups energy represented there. So I still think there's a balancing act of balancing of opinions that's going to happen here, but you are being put in a position where it looks favorable this week for you to be able to smooth over some wrinkles in old relationships, for you to be able to have a more powerful hand in negotiating, for you to very much benefit from and by these sort of connections. So for you, Monday, of course, is a great day to initiate these conversations. But remember everything that I talked about in channeled messages, which was check in with the other person, give them space, listen, let them come to you. If you do this, you can really take this to the next level. But by and large, this is just a great card. And if we take it out of the sort of day-by-day forecast, the other thing that this is saying is relationships are taking a center stage for you this week. So this means not just these business connections or old connections from the past, but children in your life, family members, siblings, people that are close to you, because that represents the closest of friends and closest of bonds. So prioritize those relationships this week and really enjoy those moments. This is also a playful card. There are a few cards that show frivolity or just a sort of like playful energy. That would be the Sun, the Six of Cups, and let me see what else, the Fool. They're all very playful. Of course, Lovers and Three of Cups is also very energetic and playful as well. But if you make time to have fun, if you also take the energy even of work and relocate it somewhere else, you're going to have much better interactions just by getting out of your general, your sort of routine and being with someone and just being present. That's your opportunity. Have fun, be present, and focus on personal interactions with the people that you care about the most. It's a really great card for this week. This is also the card of soulmates, soul connections. So again, it's all about people this week. That's what's going to open doors. That's what's going to light you up energetically. And that's where the power is for you as well. All right, going from Earth to air, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, this is going to be a great week ahead. We have here the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles, of course, showed up in the blessings and the blocks, but like many of the elements this week, you have the power in turning things around. So if you don't like what's in front of you, you can renegotiate. And I love this illustration because it shows one of the most important aspects of being an ace energy, which is you have potential, but potential requires basically investment, commitment, interest, engagement. So if you're willing to invest even the smallest amount of energy, better yet, if you're able to fully commit to something, look at how quickly and how abundantly something can start to take root and grow. With aces, we don't want to rush them either. So the important thing is to continue to pour that energy in, not just over the next 7 days, but the next several weeks. So we definitely see for you an opening. Aces are birthing energy as well. So for some of you, you're deciding, I'm finally ready to go there. I'm finally ready to do something. You know, for those of you that have had to go through that Three of Swords moment that we saw a week from now, maybe that was what was important. And this is a little bit of inspiration for my fire signs. Again, when you have that moment, something better awaits you. So I think that, Air, you've earned this. It's been a tricky couple of months, and now something beautiful is opening up for you. One thing that I also think is key with this is for you to love yourself and whatever it is that you're putting out into the world, to a degree that it would be like it's your own baby, right? So birthing energy isn't just about having a child. It's also saying, this is a part of me, and it doesn't matter what you say, what you think, because this is the best that I have to offer. When you give your 110%, when you are presenting your best, you are almost impervious to, or it just doesn't matter what the feedback is, because you know you couldn't do anything more. So rest assured, if you're giving 110% on a soul level, you've got an ace, you've got an A+, you're doing okay. So continue to connect with that. This will be a productive week for you. There's really nothing negative that I can say with the ace. Focus on your patience, focus on your commitment, and remember that you have the ability to be very convincing, persuasive, productive this week, because that Ace of Pentacles is about opening doors. One thing that I would see with this, or I would say with this, is there is a sort of, there's a deadline on some of this. That one door may close if you don't take action, but because you got an ace, you can also open another. So see yourself as infinite and abundant. If you make a misstep or if you miss an opportunity, that doesn't mean that that's the only thing in this lifetime. Going back to my channeled messages, everything in our life is about expanding and growing and learning. So we learn from everything. One shut door doesn't mean they're all shut, okay? This is going to be a great week ahead. Keep me posted on what opportunities present themselves. Really good for work, also good for love. An ace can be an invitation into a new relationship or partnership. So across the board, very good for air, okay? Let's move from air to water. Water, this is one of my favorite Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is usually an odd card because we look at cups, but they're in the air. We usually see cups on the ground or cups being exchanged between people, but Seven of Cups is always kind of an odd card because it doesn't necessarily illustrate it well. This one does. We see, instead of the cups, we see the stars. And this is a card of dreaming, wishing, and envisioning possibilities. So for you this week, I think it's going to be a great time for you to go way out there and think, basically think about the possibilities. And so if you need to brainstorm, if you need to research, if you need to think beyond a block, you're going to have no trouble sort of going outside of the box. The biggest challenge for all of you this week, water, is to find a way to ground it into maybe, how am I going to make this happen? So it would be a very good week for you to partner up with someone that could take one of those stars and bring it down to earth. So I think your opportunity is to capture everything that comes through. So if you have a lot of ideas, like if, let's say you're an artist, sketch all of that out. If you're a composer, put it all on paper. If you work better with just like saying what's on your head, talk it out and have someone else figure out how to put this into action. So you're having no lack of input, but it's just sort of like, how do you create something tangible from that? So development, daydreaming. The one thing that I like from this card, though, is it's also saying reach as high as you possibly can, because you never know when one of those, far out reaching energies is going to actually result in something amazing. Okay? Keep reaching, keep dreaming, keep thinking, work with someone that can help you organize these thoughts, because that will be the one sort of potential challenge. Okay? That is everything for the elemental energy. We're going to now move into the special topic for today. I will take a look at the big idea and the viewer or the reader's choice a little bit later, but I want to make sure we get into the special topic first. And just to reiterate for those of you that joined late, this week's special topic is titled Tapping into Your Higher Calling, Owning Your Own Superpower. I love this energy for this week, and I think that it reminds us again that we all have the capacity to move beyond. For those of you that have had, a really difficult week, I'm going to talk while I'm clearing all of this. This is basically helping you get back into your power and getting back into what makes you someone that can manifest, which is what this is all about. All right, so let me clear all of these cards, and we'll set up the special topic for today, for this week rather, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'm going to use the Tarot of St. Croix for this week. One of my favorite decks that I hadn't used in a while. Since I'm in a temporary lodging situation, I have to go into my box and see what haven't we used. And this is one of those that we haven't used in a while. All right, give me a second to set everything up, and then we will talk about the special topic. Okay, we got some cards that jumped out. We'll put these on the top. Your catalyst card is the unseen. It actually came through on an angle, but interestingly enough, that really doesn't make much of a difference with this card. This is about either seeing things from a different perspective or seeing things that others can't. And so step one to tapping into your higher calling and accessing the superpower is understanding that I often say this with the Two of Wands, you might be the first that sees it. You might see it quicker or more easily than other people. You don't want to give up on that just because one person says no. This is especially true for, who was it? I think the fire signs that got the Ten of Swords. One rejection does not equal the end of the road. So to add on to the fire signs this week, I would say rejection is protection. So if one person says no, or if one door closes, there's a better door that's opening. See beyond the perceived or initial block and continue to bring through unusual points of view. The more rebellious, the more unusual, and the more out of the box, unique, etc. that you are, not only the more of an impact that you'll make, but potentially the more staying power that you'll have. Just a fun sidebar, because I like to bring in music and pop culture occasionally. But speaking of unusual, Cyndi Lauper, her debut album as a solo artist was She's So Unusual. And she said she wanted to make music that wasn't just pop music, but that would kind of be remembered years later and still have an impact. And so she purposely she was iconic and unique in her style, kind of like punk even a little bit, but she wanted to do what she wanted to do in the way that she wanted to convey it. So, and it does have staying power. The music still sounds great. even, it doesn't sound like it's too 80s. It has its own sort of vibe. So whatever it is that you want to do, think of the legacy, think of the long-term impact of it, whether it's the love that you give to your family, whether it's the work that you put out in the universe, whether it's the changes that you're trying to create in your life and maybe in the world at large. It should be long-term. We're not looking for short-term gains. We're looking for long-term. And so this is about the long-distance run, not the sprint. And you see things in a perspective or in a way that is unique. I think one of the challenges for you right now would be, how can you convey, communicate, or articulate this vision? If you can find a way to map it out or express it in a way that is tangible or understandable or creates passion, then that's where you can start to really see something amazing happen. All right, let's go into the Celtic Cross, get some more information and clarity. The first card here is really interesting because it indicates both a strength and a potential pitfall for you. Literally, it's a strength card, but the strength in strength is that you have the capacity to push through, make anything happen if you put your mind to it. There is a sort of archetypal thing that you want to work past here, which is that there has to be right versus wrong, or a domination over one person. We don't see that in this card. Typically, strength, you see a woman opening up the mouth of a beast. She is able to overcome what looks like a scary sort of energy, or it can be like overcoming the patriarchy or overcoming the establishment. But it can also be a binary right versus wrong, or I win and you lose. Why can't you both win, or why can't you both meet in the middle where there's give and take? And that's what this card is saying, is that the key to your success in this moment is realizing that there's a blending and a learning and a giving and a taking. So it's kind of like a willow tree. It doesn't just rigidly stand. It moves and sways in the wind. It continues to grow, but part of its strength is its flexibility. So find areas of your idea, of your life, of what it is that you want to bring through where you can be flexible, give and take. Focus also on your body and your mind right now. Have you been working yourself so much so that you just feel physical and mental exhaustion? Are you dealing with quite a lot right now where you feel a little bit overwhelmed? Even the most capable of people out there, you come to a situation where it's like, I need external advice, or the skills are something that you don't have. Like, so if you recently, went through an injury or something, you may need to go to rehab. You may need to get a second opinion. Whatever you need to do to support yourself and to heal yourself, that's the first thing. And that is very much marrying up nicely with the message where we had both the King and Queen, I believe, of Cups reversed. So there were a couple of opportunities, one that was in the middle of the week, one that was coming through, I think, again on Saturday, and giving you a chance to heal. So take that opportunity while you're just relaxing or taking care of yourself. And I say just in a very sort of wink and nod sort of way. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. But when you're nurturing yourself, that's also when you come up with better ideas, better output, and when you start to really allow yourself to thrive, okay? Some of you may be entering into a path where you're a coach, or you empower others or heal others, because strength reverse can also be a healer. Interestingly enough, I was talking about the King of Cups. Crossing this card is the King of Cups, so we're going to talk about that next. Because it's crossing it, we can view it in the upright, powerful state here, which is basically saying your heart, your empathy, your creativity, that's one of the biggest strengths you have. Literally, if we see this is your strength and your hidden or subtle strength because it's reversed, some of you may think it's not strategic, or it doesn't make sense for you to do something that your heart wants to do. So chuck that to the curb. That doesn't make sense anymore. And in fact, it's the reverse of that. When you do what your heart really wants to do, it's the most strategic, it's the most important, and it's the most connected to source. Your ability to empathize, your ability to also take something way out there and convey it creatively, that's one of your superpowers. So for those of you out there that have a hidden artistic capability, musical, maybe it is being able to draw or compose musically something, or maybe even you can, you're an inventor, you have this sort of like engineering mind and you come up with things. Maybe you can't articulate it, but you can show it. Whatever that strength is, it is about expression. Your expression is amazing. Go for that and go with that. It is strategic to be passionate. It is strategic to be creative. Okay? What you want to find is a loyal companion here. We see the, just like Apollo, chilling out in the background. We see like a little Shih Tzu dog here, or Lhasa Apso breed, sitting on the lap of that King of Cups, and that represents loyalty, companionship, and friendship. You don't have to do this alone. I've said that a couple of times, and we've gotten the Six of Cups a couple of times. So remember that there is a receptive audience out there. And by the way, we got it again. So I get excited and surprised when I don't know why, because it makes sense. We're using different decks, so when we get that confirmation, it's even more powerful. You have 10 of Cups and 6 of Cups, so you can actually be discerning. This is the one really like discerning connection that you're looking for, but there's also many more that are interested. We'll get more into that in a second. First things first, let's take a look at your deep past. So this is the lesson that you've brought from earlier in this lifetime, and for some of you in a past lifetime. Justice card is indicating the ability to not only do what's right, but also to help others kind of do what's right. If we think of a character in movies and literature, this is kind of like Gandalf. His secret power in The Lord of the Rings was to help humankind basically see the right path. And you see him do it a couple of times, like when he shows up in the first movie and puts his staff down and has Bilbo give him the ring. Because it's the right thing to do, because he doesn't want him to walk down the path of temptation, and reminds him, I'm your friend. Don't be foolish. I'm here to help you. That was a moment where he helped him be stronger. He does that for many characters. He also does it for Theoden, right? He helps get Saruman out of his head, and he kind of pulls him out and helps get him inspired to go to war and fight for what matters. So you have done this in past lives for others. You get to do this in your life for yourself now. So for many of you, you have been the champion, you've been the wizard, you've been the healer for others. In this lifetime, you not only earned it, but you owe it to yourself to basically stand up and do what's right. And it may not be what's popular, and it may not be what's expected, but it is what's going to bring balance to your soul and to your energy. We can also take this card at face value, which is saying some of you may decide to pursue a degree in law or try to do something to create justice in the world. There's also a more subtle and powerful message here, which is just by living your authentic life, you can make the world a better place, particularly if you're part of a marginalized or underrepresented group. The more you get out there, the more you represent it and show people, this is okay, this is who I am, this is fine. That's actually creating balance and change, not just in your soul, but in the world in general. Make it, basically, I got this advice from a coworker before, but the best way to make change and to quote unquote get even with people that don't see your potential is just to have a successful, and for some of you maybe a bold and a visible life where you say, look at what I've been able to accomplish despite the lack of support, despite your disapproval, I'm fine. And that's the best way to get forward. You don't have to say it, just show it. Okay. So you deserve to get what's right and what's coming to you. And you've done a lot of work in a past life to achieve that. All right, let's look at the recent past here. And for many of you, this can represent an understanding that you don't have to give in to peer pressure. 10 of Cups is a wonderful card. And by the way, because we're seeing seasonality in this one, it actually makes sense now because we're approaching December. But for some of you, there's something on the horizon looming here. And it could come through in November, but it could also come through in December. And that's going to be a big gathering or a big group where there may be some judgment, there may be some pressure kind of pushed your way. And what I just talked about with justice is important. Stand your ground. You are fine exactly the way you are, exactly doing whatever it is that you want to do. And eventually what I see here, this ultimately is a card of love. Those who are meant to see you for who you are and support you for who you are will, and those who are not will fall away, and you will be better for that sort of thinning out. So this is the big group energy where the pressure may exist. This is the more discerning group where, look at the table, it's quite a group of people, and we see kind of every walk of life represented here. So variety and diversity and sort of all that sort of brings to the table is going to be fantastic, but not everybody's going to be open to this new you or this new sort of era in your life. That's their loss. That's your gain. and less is more when it comes to people in your life sometimes. It's better to have people that have your back on good times and bad, not just the fair weather friends. So what I'm seeing right now for some of you is, and let me take my picture off so we can see all of this. We'll just do a little mini review. So one of your biggest strengths right now is your ability to tap into your intuition. So it doesn't surprise me. We actually have that here in the environment, the High Priestess. So your intuitive abilities are off the chart right now. And what that means is that the next chapter in your life could confound or confuse some people, but that's okay. We see that you've worked hard to get there, that you're actually doing something that you've thought out, that it's important for you to prioritize yourself. Part of your journey, just by being who you are, is healing and demonstrating or demonstrative to others that it's going to be okay to live an authentic life. We've got the King of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune, a very watery Wheel of Fortune, saying that when I follow my heart, everything else starts to realign and starts to come into focus. You are going to attract a new chosen family or a new group of people that will understand, that will get, that will vibe with what it is that you want to do. Your ability to pull in people is also something that's amazing. So this can be leadership. Well, of course it is. This is a leader. This is someone who does the right thing, who leads people down the right path, like I was saying, Gandalf. And what we see here is a lot of movement around that. So this is boss energy. This is project management energy. This is also someone who would be very popular. We don't have the star here, but it could be very star-like energy. So those of you that are in acting or in public-facing sort of positions, it's because you're engaging, because you wear your heart on your sleeve, because people can react and relate to what it is that you're putting out there. So I'm getting a lot of social energy here. This can be social justice. This can be interacting socially and using your celebrity or your platform to do something, and basically to bring an eye or to bring attention to those who are, again, underrepresented or unseen. So part of your superpower is to shift the focus, shift the narrative. And you don't want to get distracted by people that don't have the vision, okay? So stay focused. That's one thing that I'm seeing so far that should hopefully help you own and connect with your superpower. This is one of the most important cards so far, not only because of what it is, but its positioning. So all of this was leading up to who you are, what you have to offer, etc. This is the key. So we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This Wheel of Fortune is beautiful because it's showing the ability to transform. So we see an angel on one side, we see a mermaid on the other side. And we see that for some of you, you're in this sort of mermaid phase where you're kind of transforming, you're swimming around. The waters are a little bit bumpy, and you might be questioning your faith or questioning your path. Don't. One of the things that's going to be important with the Wheel of Fortune reverse is a change in direction, a change in fortune for those of you that have been experiencing what we would quote unquote call bad luck or have been experiencing blocks. It's time to get unblocked. The Wheel of Fortune is saying a change to what hasn't been suiting you. Devil reversed means enlightenment and unshackling and liberation. Wheel of Fortune reversed doesn't mean a lack of fortune. It means a change in direction. And for some of you, that's a very fortunate thing. For the rest of you, let's say you're actually on a very abundant path. This is saying you are not stuck there. It's actually wanting to get bigger. So it's changing what you think your block is and focusing on where you can actually expand. I'm going to repeat this. It's important. The nature of the universe is that of expansion. It's expanding so much that we don't know if or when it will stop. But with that being said, right now, the same thing holds true for your soul. It's only going to expand. It cannot, should not, does not want to contract. So let's think of engaging with and opening up to opportunities and things in your life that allow for that change and that movement. The wheel also moves. We go through changes and seasons in our life. So when we feel like things are upside down and inside out, they're just en route to bringing us to the right place, okay? So no matter where you are in your journey, there's more to come and you have to keep moving with it, all right? So ultimately, Four of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, Sun, and all of those very positive cards, I still see them as positive when I get them reversed. For you, you just have to change perspective or change direction, and that will help you tap into the Wheel of Fortune. Some of you are actually really, really good at helping people do just that, because we're talking about helping you tap into your calling or your superpower. So you may be able to take a dime and make it $1. You may be able to take limited resources and, just like the Queen of Wands, you find a way. You find a way to make something work where it shouldn't. And so go for that. So for some of you, this is kind of like finance, or finding a way to help people with development and working on things of that nature. All right, let's get back into the cards and take a look at how you're showing up. If we take a look here at your soul, your ego, and how your energy is presenting itself, it's in a lesson right now. It's in a learning and an absorbing phase. The Eight of Pentacles is basically right on the precipice of getting like an A+ here. There are two different cards that show learning. Eight of Pentacles is apprenticeship. Three of Pentacles is mastery. This is learning. Three of Pentacles is graduation. So with this, you're very much absorbing and learning. And notice here we've got this beaver sort of dam here. There is a blockage, but it could have been one of your own creation. So right now you have a chance to decide to let the floodgates basically go free, and you can move on to a new horizon. You've done all the work that you need to. The dam now wants to kind of break, and this new opportunity wants to come through. Your heart wants to open up. I kind of get this bursting out of energy. So what you've done, this is kind of interesting too. The other thing that my guides are showing me is that sometimes we build something up in our life just to understand that we could. We don't have to stay there once we've built it. You can then release it, sell it, move on from it, and build something new. So just because you've created this castle doesn't mean that you have to dwell in it forever. So I think some of you have proved something to yourself. You've proven something. I can do it. You can do it. And now you're ready to embark on something else and see, well, what else is there out there? What else can I do? So remember, we got some knights reversed and some cards reversed towards the beginning of the week. Contemplation is really important. So take the first half of the week and decide, where do you stand? What do you want? And then when you're ready, the floodgates will open, opportunities will flow your way, and you can continue. You can either continue to build or you can start from scratch. Okay? That's up to you. As a representation of what you're capable of, this is a good card for teachers. So we had here a coach. Here we have a teacher, and that energy comes through. And this would also be associated with children, and this is children. This can be adults here, so it doesn't have to just be children, but I definitely see great ability to teach and to inspire, young and old. So you don't have to be the role of teacher to do that. You could be doing what I'm doing, something on YouTube. You could be, again, just living your general life, and you never know who around you might look up to you, right? People in sports and politics, people on YouTube, and actual professors and teachers all have the ability to inspire and to embolden people to be the best version of themselves. So that's one of your hidden strengths as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on around you. So we have the High Priestess. Couldn't be a stronger correlation to the unseen than that card. Literally we could put this card, put it right there. It's the third eye opening. So the question with this is, what do you want to do about that? This is a card of manifestation. It's a card of creativity. For many of you, it means that you are connecting for the first time with others who are also on that path of awakening. So back when I was starting to open up creatively and intuitively, I decided to do a few things. First of all, I learned how to read cards. That was one thing. I also learned how to teach yoga. It's not necessarily something that I practice here. I incorporate meditation and breathing into this reading, but I did that more for myself so that I could learn how to ground my energy and how to channel my energy, so I could be at peace with what I was feeling and not feel overwhelmed. So for you could just deepen your practice so that you could be the best version of yourself. That being said, this is a time where the universe is going to, if you're ready, gift you much more intuitively than you've ever received before. So that means that dreams, meditations, intuition, your own ability to channel in writing, in art, etc., it could be strengthened if you just let go. Part of connecting to the flow of the universe is not to block it, but to surrender to it. And you have to sort of very specifically surrender. So what I would do, like when I set up this sort of spread and work with all of you from day to day, I always begin with closing my eyes, seeing the 4 archangels in the corner and saying, let's really connect to the highest possible energy and guidance for everyone present. I say thank you, I connect to my guides, and then I start the reading. And so I surrendered to God and the universe to allow me to be a clear channel. So you can do that in each and every part of your life. It doesn't have to just be reading cards. It can be, being the best doctor, being the best teacher, being the best mother or father or partner that you could possibly be. And you say, show me the way. Help me see things that I couldn't see before. And once you surrender and accept what comes through, you become the most powerful version of yourself. People may not understand what's happening initially, but sooner or later, you don't have to change outfits like Superman or Wonder Woman did. You can simply shift into that superpower by sharing what it is. And by the way, that's like the biggest gift that I could give you today is don't hold back. When I think back to versions of myself that worked in corporate environments and other sort of walks of life before I was doing this, I would sit quietly in rooms when I should have been sharing what I was seeing and thinking. I was afraid of stepping on toes. I was afraid of being judged. I was quiet. And so I'm not quiet anymore. I'm closer to what I was when I was a little kid. And interestingly enough, what broke that wild energy that I had when I was a kid was school and college and jobs, because they teach you to sit in the corner and be quiet and do what you're told. And the truth is we are collaborative. We are, at many levels, we're all equal souls that are trying to advance to the next level. So I'm here to kind of shake the tree a little bit and say, don't be as quiet as you were used to being when it comes to sharing insights and ideas. Don't be as meek or as mild as you were expected to be when it comes to expressing your creative side. Be the opposite. Be authentic, be bold, be vocal. This doesn't mean you do it all the time, but when you choose to do it, it's going to be so impactful, because when you share something worth sharing or worth hearing, people will then see you as a mover, a shaker, a doer, as a visionary. And that's ultimately what these cards are all about. So maybe some of you just needed to hear this. You are a visionary. You have things worth sharing. Your voice, your vision, your words, your art, it matters. And if teachers, bosses, and family have told you that it's not good enough, it's their opinion. You have to tap into what you feel, and if you believe it's good and you start to put that out there and continue to work on it, because everything's a craft, everything gets better with time, then you don't know where you could go if you continue to kind of like go into that energy. Okay, so give your dream, give your vision, give your voice some work, some energy, some free reign, and see where it takes you. But this is definitely for many of you a chance to develop your intuitive side. So that wasn't always welcome. I mean, we don't have to look further than the Salem witch trials or anywhere in history where something supernatural could be viewed as bad. So we're now in a place where your ability to express yourself creatively is fine. I couldn't have done this, maybe unless I was back in ancient Greece or an oracle at Delphi or something, but there were times where this would also not be seen or accepted. So find your opening and start to express yourself, and over time, people will come to see the value that you bring. All right, enough said with that. Now, this is really exciting for those of you that feel like you want to publish something. This not only is a card of learning, but it's also editing and writing. So is the Three of Pentacles, but this is saying that there's still some work that's being done, or you're more in the sort of like download phase. But the Queen of Swords is amazing at communication. This isn't just about writing a book or teaching or anything of that nature. This is also a storytelling card. And nowadays it can be accomplished. You can tell your story or convey your message through so many different channels. Things like what I'm doing here. So it can be videos, it can be podcasting, it can be also like electronic distribution of things like newsletters. It doesn't have to be a traditional write a book, get a contract, go to a publisher, and wait, a year and a half for something to get out there. That model is so old and it's dying quickly. We can instead, as creators, as communicators, put together the best thing that we have, polish it, and then distribute it immediately We don't have to go through the middleman anymore. So you have a potential right now to tell a story and make an impact in real time. How exciting is that? We can show up today, just like we're doing today, and make a big shift. In old times, that wouldn't have worked, or you would have had to keep repeating this, like have a road show. But instead, I can communicate with a bunch of people at once. So can you. What's your story? What's your message? What do you want to do? Don't think that you have to wait for one of those old channels to help you out. You can now put this stuff out in real time into the world. This Queen of Swords is bold. So don't be afraid to get out there and do what you need to. We see Athena's energy here because we have the owl from Athena. We also have Medusa on this shield here. One thing that reminds me of is the story of being able to kind of stop the Kraken, right? From like Clash of the Titans. But for many of you, your statement can be very, very bold, and you can put an end or put a stop to something with your message, with using your voice. So never underestimate the power of your words to lift up, to stop, to change, to mold. You have something worth expressing, and I'm trying to help you see how open the channels are. And if one way is blocked, try another. And you are only limited by your imagination or by your willingness to put yourself out there and try something different. Initially, when I started, I think it helps to sometimes share the journey, but I wasn't sure that this is what I wanted to do. I actually started the path of thinking, yeah, I just want to write a book and I want to go down that path. And I worried what might have happened if people found what I did here on YouTube. And then I realized YouTube was the purpose. The book was something on the side that I was interested in. And I opened myself up, and I'm so glad I did. And I turned the camera up and just started having an interaction with people. And I put away my fear. And if you can just truly own who you are, and who cares what people think? Again, everyone has an opinion. If you are at peace with yourself and at peace with your path, powerful things start to happen, my friends. So I encourage you to just give it a shot. The worst that will happen is you don't get the expected outcome. But at the end of your days, when you're in soul review, you're never going to look back and think, I should have, I could have, I wish I would have. You can enter and exit this world knowing that you did everything that you set out to do, and then some. Okay? So you have something to say. There's many ways to do it. Take action this week, this month, before this year is up, and you'd be surprised at how quickly things start to open up. I mentioned the Queen of Wands. We have two queens here, and this is the magic. This is what we've been talking about. As many of you know, this is probably my favorite queen card because she has the capacity to make things happen when they shouldn't. But I want to pull up the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card here because it's going to tell the story a little bit better. But we'll look at this first. This does have with it the cat or feline type energy that I was talking about. So your power in manifestation, your power in leadership, your power in general comes from your patience. And your ability to know that that cat is eventually going to come over because it does want attention. The opportunity is eventually going to find its way to you because you are ready, but you're not overreaching, you're not overselling, you're not pushy. So this is about knowing that you're worth it and not being afraid to wait for the other person to see your value too. Let's look at the traditional card though, because it carries with it some additional messages that I want to talk about. While I'm going through that, I'll mention what's on the card and then I'll show it to you by the time I've said it. But basically, why this card is so magical to me is that we see the queen sitting in the desert where something shouldn't grow. Yet, she is not only comfortable, she's holding a sunflower. The sunflower is heliotropic, which means that it follows the light. She's representing that solar energy. And she's basically saying, I'm strong enough at this point in my life to be the leader and to trust that the right energy will follow or find its way to me. I'm not going to, here it is. I'm not going to spend any more time following. I'm going to start leading. So there she is holding boldly that sunflower, sitting confidently with the intuitive energy of the cat in front of her, showing not only her intuitive ability, but also the 9 lives. Like it'll take a lot to get the Queen of Wands down. And even then she'll bounce back. And then we see, again, the desert behind her. So it's saying those days of lack, of wanting, of needing, they're in the background. I now am manifesting. I am holding court and creating that. And here we see a stealthier queen, very much in the energy of the cat. And cool thing with this, because we're seeing one of the basically big cats that could hunt, something that's capable of getting what it wants. So you don't have to work too hard. Let it come to you. If we're looking at like a cheetah, a puma, a lion, a tiger, any of the cats that hunt, one of the things that they do is they lie in wait. They wait for the prey to come to them. They wait for the meal, the opportunity to come to them. So for you, framing it up in a bigger sort of context, something's ready to come your way. Don't lose patience. Don't lose hope. Don't get distracted. Queen of Wands in reverse can be a little bit limited in how it might show up. So we want her in the upright position, which is very open and is very capable of managing. Also, don't micromanage. Queen of Wands in reverse tends to want to make people do things. And that was one of the messages from channeled energies that I picked up earlier was you can be so much more powerful and also more effective in your teachings and your leadership and your coaching when you work with people that are receptive. If you have a student, if you have a mentee, if you have anybody in your general vicinity or environment that just doesn't want to listen, focus on someone or something else. It's not worth your time and energy. So of all of your powers and all of your abilities right now, we see one big distraction, which could be trying to change someone's path, change someone's mind that doesn't want to listen. And it could also be not seeing something that's sneaking up, an opportunity that's getting ready to show up because you're focusing on that. And so that's the first area of opportunity, because by the way, this was an amazing spread. Did you notice? No Ten of Swords, no Devil, no Tower, nothing really distracting. It's all positive. This was the first distraction. We do see some peer pressure coming through here that could distract you. For some of you, maybe a fear that you're not able to go into that. But these were subtle because these are positive cards, and it's a reach for me to see that as something negative. This one even still is a reach a bit because they're all positive, but it is just about keeping an open mind. That's the biggest opportunity that I can see. Let's go ahead and expand this again. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny through the lens of what's your higher calling? How can you own your superpower? How can you really be who you are and not be afraid? Okay. Let's take a look at your health card. So we have this card of lack or card of yearning and wanting. It says winter, take care of your needs. One of the needs and one of the areas of opportunity when we're looking at health is your physical strength. Some of you give to the point of exhaustion because maybe you were taught to think that, through being that martyr, through basically putting yourself out there and showing how difficult it is, that somehow that will win people over. I think a stronger person is the one that knows how and when to kind of push into overdrive, and then also when to say, no, I need to rest now. Or you're asking for something that, while I understand why you're asking for it, it's not feasible and it may not be reasonable. I can give you this much. I can help you with this. I think if we ask this person, maybe we can do it, but something needs to give or something needs to be added. That's a strong leader. They know when to say when. They know also how to get what you're looking for, but it isn't through brute force of pushing your body beyond the limits. Know your limits, hold your ground, and don't be afraid to really be firm in that energy. Winter is not permanent. It's a season. As I said, the Wheel of Fortune spins and it spins, so there are high points and there are low points. Some of you may be in the lower or the more challenging point right now. The wolf is going to be able to fend for itself, and it's going to be able to get back into that abundant spring and summer energy eventually. So a season does not last forever. This is not Game of Thrones. Winter comes, then winter goes. Unless we really mess up our environment here, which is possible. But assuming that we continue with the seasons that we're used to, we're looking at maybe a quarter of the year. So this period of time will take you through to the end of this year, and we can imagine that by December or January, we start to see a shift. We start to see movement. For some of you, there could be new love. There could be new partnership that's coming in unexpectedly and in a very sort of positive way. Let's go ahead now and take a look at health through the lens of these cards with the general understanding that I'm here to help you look at energy and to open up your own free will. If you have anything that's going on and you need help, you'll work with the appropriate professional for that. All right. You can see and feel things that others may not. Back to the main point here. And to use something that happened to me a few weeks ago, and I'm actually very much on the mend now, but I had a podiatrist that had fitted me with a cast. I'm now in a walking boot. It was too tight. And the minute it went on, I said, it's too tight. And they didn't remove it. And I went back the next day and they didn't remove it. I found a new doctor that took it off and put me in a walking boot on Monday, like last Monday. But what happened was there was this big welt that formed, and it's now finally going away. It's almost gone, actually. But had I left that on, who knows what would have happened, something bad. But I felt it and I knew it was wrong. And the person's reluctance to fix it told me, you know what? I need a second opinion. They're not listening to me. I'm in pain and they're not listening to the fact that I'm in pain. So if you are feeling something and there's a doctor in your life or a person in your life that rejects it, let's say you're feeling something that can't be seen. Your heart is aching, like figuratively speaking, because you've gone through a breakup, you've lost someone that you've loved, and you need help, but someone says, you just need to be strong, just, don't cry. Men are told this, and it's not right, by the way, like, be a man. Why can't a man cry? Why shouldn't he be able to? Because that's part of the toxic masculinity that we need to let go of. So what we're seeing right now is you are seeing and feeling something that is happening and it's real to you and to your body. Find someone that can meet you and be there as the champion, as the healer, as the person that is going to help you move through this, because you're on the precipice of a breakthrough, okay? So if you see it and feel it, but someone denies what you're seeing and feeling, they're not ready to help you. You can find someone else and you can change your fortune. You can change the result. So listen to your body. Get a second opinion if you need a second opinion. We do see energy of balance here in the deep past. So for some of you, this is work-life balance. It could also be, if you're ever experiencing any vertigo or other issues like inner ear problems, obviously go straight to the doctor and talk to them about that. But I'm going to read this more as doing what's right, standing up for your health and for your work-life balance, and not being afraid to do so. Standing up to family or friends or bosses, because all of these three cards can represent those three facets of your life, and prioritizing your health, strength, and your happiness, King of Cups. Ultimately, we see you succeeding here. This is a very good month. There's some learning, there's some movement, there might be some blockages, but you move past those blockages. When you articulate what's going on in your life and you're open to trying something different. So health is very much about activation of throat chakra. And I would say it's going to be your 5th and your 7th chakras that are going to open up right now, because you have to say what's on your mind. And then you also have to open up to the downloads. We could say 5, 6, and 7. This is where the focus is going to be on development, speaking and interpreting and receiving, and then also opening up to even more, to the spiritual realm, to source, to plugging in. Okay, so to me, that's pretty amazing. And it does show me again that you're going to start to feel and see things before others. Very much the canary in the coal mine, sensing opportunities and danger before others. Trust it. It's the biggest message today, is that you are actually tapped in. You wouldn't be a part of this reading if you weren't tapped in. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at your wealth card. We have the butterfly spirit, and it's all about transformation. This connects nicely to the death card that we got for today, which is saying there is a change that needs to come through. This particular transformation, death, or movement card is reverse, which is saying that there's an overdue change. So some of you, and also like judgment reverse, is accepting something that you've made your mind up about, but you haven't taken action on. So today, what you're starting to realize is, what have you got to lose? What's holding you back? Does it really matter what people think? Is there a way that you can just authentically and bravely go down that path and not worry so much about acceptance or popularity or whatever it is that's held you back up until this point? There could also be significant blocks in the systems around you. So for those of you in a very traditional organization where there's only so many of certain titles, or they look for people from certain backgrounds or schools or whatever, it's like, this is too rigid. That's not the only way that someone can get to the next level. So you may be looking at a place, an environment, a structure that just doesn't support you. And so you don't have to be a part of that anymore. So this could be about unplugging and pushing your energy into a better path. No matter how you look at it, this is about movement. We see the pearl at the center of this, showing that you have really worked, the pearl and the butterfly. You've worked hard and you have something wonderful to offer. You have to open up to it, just like we're looking at here with the clam of the oyster. It's basically about opening up and showing the world the beauty inside. And the same thing with the butterfly. It has to break free. The most significant moment for a butterfly is breaking out of the chrysalis, or for a caterpillar, getting out of a cocoon so it can be a moth, because it's trapped for a moment. So you're right on the precipice of spreading your wings, but you have to see past this perceived block, maybe one of your own construction, because cocoons and chrysalises are just that. Let's take a look specifically at this through the lens of wealth, which could be career or life purpose or money. And it's really nicely connected. I'm just looking at the title of the special topic. This is your superpower. This is your higher calling. So I want to look at this with extra discernment and hopefully help you out with this. All right, so looking at this through the lens of possibility here. Again, one of the most important things with the High Priestess energy is not to limit what's possible. If you can see it and believe it, other people can see it and believe it. If you can't, they're going to have a very hard time piecing it together. So see it, believe it, and then breathe life into it. Let's see here. Some of you just, again, may be in a place where someone's pushed you down a path and it doesn't feel right anymore. Sometimes we have to just prove to that person or to ourselves that we could do it. And it isn't failure and it isn't weak to decide at that point, I'm going to walk away from it. And why, you might ask? Because you see something more for yourself, again. So honoring what it is that you see or what you feel. Finding and establishing balance is important as well. Everything that we talked about earlier here, using your voice and then not overthinking. Part of the way that I work as a channel is it comes through either the crown or the third eye, but it exits here. Sometimes the message just comes from here. And I'm sure that many of you that are medium channels, you know what I'm talking about, where later you'll listen to it and you'll think, how and where did that come from? It's because sometimes spirit will work just through the throat. If you open up enough, some of you could be able to just come up with things. Singers do this too. You get into a vibe and it's sort of like, I don't know where that came from, but that's right. That's totally right. Let yourself open up. Your voice is powerful. You can also do this through writing. So just go with it and don't edit. Here's the biggest gift that I could give you with this as well, is just put it down on paper or just get it out. Later, you can bring together the tapestry. If we look at this card and you look at it from a distance, you can clearly see the eye. When you look at it up close, it's like a dot matrix printer from the 80s and 90s. All those little pieces that eventually make up this really smooth and obvious thing. So things come in those little pieces. And so don't worry how it's all going to come together. Trust that the hand of the universe is helping you trace that pattern that we just saw there. There's for some of you, it's time to move on. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Death card reversed here, or the Transformation card reversed, it's saying money isn't everything, this current title or this opportunity isn't everything, and you may have gone as far as you want or need to. I had a choice when I left my corporate career. I could have kept going into like director or VP level, but I thought, no, I've done everything that I need to on this path. I want to do other things. I finally wanted to just get even beyond titles. I like that on YouTube, you can just say you're a creator. I think that's very powerful because you're moving and you're making and you're inspiring. So to me, I'd rather have that title than something else. A creator and a producer. What better things can you do than to create something beautiful, produce something beautiful, and inspire? So words are just that. They're just words, right, Apollo? And we don't have to put too much weight into that. So allow yourself to have a different label and you can move. You've learned enough. That's what I basically see with this. You've learned enough. With respect to money and negotiations, we have here the ability to get a little bit more, to eke out a little bit more. So when we're looking at something where you're going to purchase or negotiate, the Eight of Pentacles would show about 20% more or 20% surplus or wiggle room. So you could put your negotiation price higher. So if you're going to negotiate your salary, no more than 20% maybe above what's currently being offered, and then try to find something in the middle, perhaps. You may actually get what you're asking for because we have the High Priestess right above that, but that's what I'm seeing. And if you're looking for a discount, no less than 20% of the current asking price. You're pretty close, and there is a little bit of room, but that's kind of what I'm seeing there. In a magnitude of 20%, 1,000, something of that nature, okay? Let me see if there's anything else. Just again, leaning into the creative energy. That's the main thing here. It is a season of change, And when you move into that change, going back into health, it can feel a little bit isolating, a little bit scary, but it's all moving you towards development and an abundance. And we see that here with blessings and abundance. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But I like the outcome cards, Wheel of Fortune and Queen of Wands. It is what you make of it. And she can create, like I said, she can take a dime and make a dollar. She expands energy in ways that are unexpected. She asks for things and she gets them. So those two queens working in concert in your energy are quite impressive. And again, your ability to attract, partner, or work with other people, also a really big strength in this moment in time. Okay, let's move into relationships right now. Blessings and abundance is the main message here. And the card is reversed, which means blessings in disguise and unexpected abundance, maybe even you taking your own value for granted, which is an opportunity to do less of in this moment in time. Let's break this down into the 3 different aspects that I like to look at. We're going to look at those of you in a relationship looking for love, or those that are single and happy. We're going to see how this works into tapping into your superpower as well, but let's just take it one thing at a time. If you're in a current relationship, I'm actually pretty happy with the way it looks. What's interesting is whatever challenges in the past happened, it feels like you're good. There was a challenge for some of you. The Justice card was a decision. Do I stay? Do I go? Those of you that decided to stay, there's a lot of reasons. It's because of the family that you built. It might be because of the children in your life. It also might be because of the financial energy around you. I think the important thing with all of that, though, is the heart still there? So I see a lot of compelling reasons here: family, children, money. But the most important one is heart. So as long as the heart is still there, you're good. We have 2 pretty evenly matched energies here. I see one that speaks their mind. I see one that shows how they feel. But tuning back into my channeled messages and also seeing the Queen reversed, one of the 2 could be pushing the other in a way that they shouldn't. So lean into the cat-like energy, which is to show up, to hold space and allow the other person to either accept or reject what it is that you're trying to do. Give them space for them to show up. Trying to force your hand or trying to force someone down a path that isn't going to work. And so I think that's the biggest opportunity in present relationships is letting there be some space and letting the other party or partner show up the way that they need to without forcing them. Because if they can't and they won't, ultimately you'll have to decide, if you've articulated what you need, if this is going to be enough for you. Because I do see someone that's stubborn, one that likes to talk it out, one that just doesn't want to. And so that could be a little challenging. What I do like about it is both of you seem to be able to read one another pretty well. And this is a karmic relationship because we have the 8 of Pentacles. Most of the lessons have been learned now, so hopefully you can move beyond that. There are no cards of in the present or future about breakup, but I do see something in the past where there was a moment of contemplation. It could have been at the beginning, like, do I really want to get into this? There could have been an incident that popped up where you thought, is this going to break us? But for some reason, many of you decided to stick with it. And I see continued success, but the opportunity is with communication. And we want to really bring equal amounts of bringing the heart forward and being able to be vulnerable. I think that's the missing component for some of you. So speak your mind and show your heart and let the other person in. And again, if they don't want that, then you can decide if that's going to be something that you're okay with or not. The other thing I want to hit on before I go to those looking for love, part of the reason that you've stuck together and you're so connected is this is soulmate energy. 6 of Cups, soulmate. 8 of Pentacles, karmic relationship. Karma has been released. You've actually learned your karma. So now it's just a matter of whenever we have graduated karmically, there is another wake-up moment where it's sort of like, oh, I don't have to be with this person. Now I choose to be with them. That's actually more powerful. So if you're at that point where you choose to be with them, then this is something that will last. So there we go. All right, let's take a look at those of you looking for love. I think the most important thing is to figure out what you want to do first. The career card is coming through here, the Wheel of Fortune. And you can manifest in real time here. So with the High Priestess in the environment, the main message here is to imagine that not only are you worth it, but that it could happen right now. Not in the near future, not in the distant future. The person's there. We see multiple partner opportunities here. A water sign, an air sign, a fire sign, or we see emotional cognitive and verbal skills coming through, which is showing me someone that kind of has everything you're looking for. So just know that it's out there if you're ready. The main thing for you, though, is to get your finances, to get your career, and to get your health in order, because the center card is showing me that there may need to be some balancing. Who you meet may not match what your friend and family circles wanted. By the way, this is true of those that are in a current relationship. This can be rebuffing or rejection from the family. This could be from the social or core sort of like community group around you. That is their loss. And again, the family becomes a different sort of unit. So when you love someone and then you maybe even create your own family, that's your core family. It's not your mom and dad anymore. It's your partner and your children, or your partner and your extended family of friends that you create. So family is where your heart is, home is where your heart is. And if you're with someone that you love and that is unconditional love, and your biological family is rejecting it, or your previous friend group is rejecting it, that is a lack of them being unconditional and open and supporting of you. So some of you may have to face that, but in the long run, like I said, it only feels like a minor sort of reduction here, going from 10 to 6. So 2 or 3 people fall out, 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, the people that stick around are the core ones anyway. So we see a clearing, and a clearing in a good way. All right, looking at those that are single and happy, what a great time to be focused on other things. Career is going to skyrocket. Your personal skills in communication and leadership skyrocket. Your intuitive skills can skyrocket. You still have great networking energy. I think the main thing, and it hits across everybody, is that you're taking your own health maybe for granted. So focusing on making sure that you are doing more to support yourself will not only set a good example, but it's going to set the foundation for success. And it is strategic. I love that the King of Cups is on a chess or checkers board there, and he's basically saying, no, I'm holding my ground, and this is the smart thing to do, because everyone else is going to get burned out. All right, let's move on to your destiny card. Love this one. We have a whale of a time here, and it says your charge is to enlarge. So it's basically saying expansion, right? Just a different way to show it. So, and this is a gentle giant, by the way. You got so many leadership cards. Let's just look again at this spread. So we have Strength in the Major Arcana, one of the strongest divine feminine cards. We have the King of Cups. We have Queen of Swords. We have Queen of Wands. We have High Priestess. They're all leadership, and they're all strong. This represents not only the people around you and the opportunities around you, but your past lifetimes. King of Cups, someone who really learned the importance of empathy. High Priestess, someone who learned how to tap into spirit. That's you right now too, because it's the environment. Queen of Swords, the one who understands that words are power. That's why magic, whenever we watch Harry Potter or something like that, he's saying all these Latin phrases because words are power. Incantations carry with them a resonance. And then the Queen of Wands, inventive, someone who's able to bounce back. So someone in the past who was able to make it through difficulties. And you've got all of these energies present right here, right now. And you're bigger than life. You're bigger than you give yourself credit for. So looking at your superpower, what is it? It's to make a splash. Whales are not subtle. They're gentle giants. They don't abuse their power, but they make a splash, and they make an entrance, and they're not afraid to show their size. So that's what we see here. Embrace that and show that. All right, at this point, I would like to take a look at a reader's choice. As I look at the cards in front of me, let's see what we can do to really help you open up to your superpower. I'm going to take off my picture here so we can see everything here. So as I'm looking at all the cards in front of me, the one that comes through the most here is actually in the area of wealth, and it is about moving beyond this transformational block. So what is it that's holding you back from being able to change? You see what's possible, but what is the block? How can you basically trust what you're seeing or accomplish what it is that is presenting itself for you? And then we'll do the big idea. We got death. Okay, but this is a really cool death card, so hold on a second. I'm going to turn it upright. So death reversed is basically what we saw earlier coming through, and we see it here. It's transformation reversed. So these are just two different versions of death, but this one is basically showing that sorry, I dropped a card here. All right, if we look closely at this one, we see him holding a skeleton key. And the skeleton key is basically something that can open any door. So to go back to like Hierophant energy, there is no gatekeeper. There is no magical person that's going to do this for you. Who's going to make it happen? You. You're the one that is either going to forge a path, discover a path, like the Queen of Wands can think her way through anything, or you're going to just look at this from a perspective that reveals something that other people couldn't see. But no matter how you look at it, you are the source, you are the key, you are the one that's going to make this work. So the block is that for somehow or some reason you thought it was going to come in another shape or another form. You are the vehicle of change. You're the angel of transformation, okay? So, and also part of the message is to change things. So the status quo, what's expected, what's out there, that's not what you're about, and that's not where your strength exists in, okay? Powerful message there. Now we're going to look at the big idea. I like to look at this a little bit differently, and it depends each week on what it is that we're focusing on. So I'm going to do 2 cards. One is going to help you tap into your higher power or your higher calling, and the other one is to own it. So again, I think we hit on a little bit of that with the Death card, but let's just see if there's anything else that wants to come through. So 1, tapping into your higher calling. We've got Ace of Cups reversed. And the second part of that is what is it you can do to basically own the superpower? And we have the 5 of Pentacles. Okay. Powerful messages coming through with this. So for tapping into it, don't hold back what you feel. Many of us have been taught to not show our emotions, to be strong, to basically just put on a happy smile or a strong face. This is saying, you know what, in this moment in time, I need to let it out. I need to show who I am. I'm going to wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not going to be afraid to do that. Your passion, your vulnerability is actually really, really powerful. So when we think of modern artists that are really, really successful, the ones that are capable of conveying things in song, in music, in visual arts, any way, shape, or form, when they just basically can connect with you from their heart, you're like, I see myself in that person. I see a piece of my experience in theirs. It may not be identical, but I understand them. I can get behind that. I relate to that. That's cathartic. So catharsis is actually a part of your higher calling, to heal through the access, the ability to access and to sort of like release your heart space. So let it all out. That's part of it. And that's part of what makes music and art and those sorts of expressions really powerful. And then owning your superpower. This is so powerful, folks. Some of you are afraid that you're not worth it. This is self-confidence. And this is, I'm so glad I pulled an extra card here. The 5 of Pentacles is an illusion. I mean, it's based on a wound from the past. But what happens is somewhere along the line, you either intuited or inferred that you didn't have worth. Some of you may have heard it actually from someone, or they showed a lack of vision or support, but sometimes we just pick up on it and we internalize it. So the 5 of Pentacles gives us a chance in this moment in time to say, no more. I'm going to take that, and we're going to do an inner child meditation at the end, but we're going to take the inner child and heal it. Whatever's not right, whatever was wounded, we're going to heal it. And that's the important thing in the meditation today. So this card helped. And then we're going to let the heart beam out so that you can be strong. So 5 of Pentacles, here's how you're going to heal it. First of all, you're going to see that moment and that lesson and think, that hurt, but that's not me. And that's not everything. Then you're going to demand more than that. So you're not going to give away your time, your energy, your love, or anything of that nature. You're going to ask for what your worth is and accept nothing less than that. Okay, let's move on to the final portion of today, which is going to be a meditation, a sound bath, and the final question. So if I didn't cover something for you and you have a specific question around timing or yes, no, or something else, you can save it. And in about 2 to 3 minutes, I'll pull one final card where that question will be answered. For everybody else, we're going to meditate, we're going to heal the inner child, and then we'll get into that. Before we do any of that, I don't ask often, so I'm just going to ask one last time here before we get into the final card. please subscribe if you haven't. It's absolutely free and you don't have to pay anything, and it really helps with the channel growth and discovery. Same thing with liking. You can only do it once per video, but my goodness, it helps with engagement. If you watch this later on replay, leave me a comment as well. All of these things are really powerful and important for the YouTube algorithm. Also, follow me across social media so you never miss a video. Thank you in advance to all of my current members, my future members, and anybody who wants to give back with a super sticker or super chat. With that being said, it's time to meditate, folks. Close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath. And in this moment, maybe just stretch your arms out for a second and let go of any tension that you're holding on to in your shoulder, and your neck, and your back. And sigh it all out and just let it go. All right. I'd love for you to see yourself on the beach in the summer on a beautiful, maybe on the first day of summer, and you see the sun rising, and there's this feeling of warmth, of compassion, of possibility. It's a new day. Whatever yesterday held, that's old news. Today's a clean slate. There are no clouds in the sky. The water is perfectly still, and you can see this beautiful line cutting from the sun all the way to you, creating this sort of V-shaped energy moving outward towards you, where basically you're being welcomed. It's almost like a path. Imagine that in fact you can walk along this light bridge over the water, and you take one step to just think, is this real? And then you think, wait a second, it's real if I want it to be real. So believe that you can now walk this path to source energy. Your feet are on firm ground and you focus just on the light. It's a magnet. It's pulling you toward it. Each step that you take, you get lighter and brighter. Each step that you take, you start to feel more love, compassion, and energy in your heart center. Your heart is actually now beaming out to meet the sun in an equal, if not greater than energy. And in a moment, you take a deep breath and you feel yourself in the center of source. You're not just in the sun, you're in the source of all energy. And as you're here, you see yourself as maybe you've never seen yourself before. Past, present, future. This lifetime, past lifetimes, future lifetimes. Time is a construct, and when you get into spirit, it doesn't really work the same way that it does on this physical plane. So now you are in a realm of possibilities. Limits do not have a place here. Your old thought processes no longer work here. All you can see is the potential. I'd like you to reach back in your mind to a memory where you felt limited. I'd like you to reach out to the hand of whatever age version of of you that exists there, and just invite it in, beckon it in, and watch as it walks toward you into this infinite possibility space which you currently are living in. I'd like you to pull that energy into your arms. If it's a baby, you can just kind of rock it. If it's an adult, you can just give it a hug and say, you know what? It is going to not only be okay, but it's going to get so much better than you imagined it could be. And I'm so sorry that you don't know that in this moment in time. I wish I could have felt it, but now you can. Know that in the future, it's going to be okay. And by healing that past version of yourself, and you can do this multiple times if you'd like to, but by healing all of these versions of yourself, you are going to be whole. As you bring that old version of yourself into the new version of yourself, just let it melt in and allow both of you to coexist, and now finally feel a sense of peace. And that's all you need to do in this meditation, is just relax and tell yourself, if you can't visualize all of this, it's going to be okay. Feel the warm sunlight, feel this sense of peace, and even if today doesn't bring it to you, know that it's out there. Know that it's on the horizon. And like the skeleton key here, you're reaching out for that and saying, let's bring it in. I'm ready to receive. Just keep breathing. I'm going to play the singing bowl, and then we'll look at your final card for today. a deep breath. Exhale. See the bridge of light extending from source, leading back to your physical body on earth. Allow yourself to be absorbed into that ray of light and re-enter your body in the heart center. In the next breath, see the two versions of yourself snapping together, bringing together all of this knowledge, all of this energy from source, from spirit, into this moment in time. Decide what it is that you want to do. Know that you have the vision, the voice, and the leadership. This is what we saw today to make it happen. For some of you, it's going to be making a change in the world. For some of you, it's going to be telling a story. For some of you, it's going to be innovation and invention. But you have the skills. You have the wherewithal. Now you just need to stand strong and make a splash. I'd like you to focus now on the final question that you have for me. Don't type it, just think it, and let's go ahead and pull one last card to see what Spirit has to say. For some of you, this could be just getting more clarity on how to make this superpower or this vision come into fruition. 10 of Pentacles. It's a great 10 of Pentacles too. So as a yes/no card, this would equal a yes. As a how do I do it, it's through your existing network. It's not something that's in isolation, and it's not something that you have to just throw out there into, sort of like a vacuum. You would work through existing partnerships and people that you know. So be willing and ready to kind of socialize and communicate what it is that you want to do. As an advice card, this is saying that the next period of time, the next 3 months or so, not just this next 7 days or next month, is opening up a lot of movement with respect to people that are coming into your life that may want to connect with you. This can represent marriage. This can be something big like a new job or a new house. This also represents people that see value in you. So this is the ability for abundance to start to take off and take shape and take form. So I definitely see the next period of time looking really good for you, the next 3 months in particular. So if you've been in a challenging point, and I know a lot of us have, and I know this year has been kind of tricky, and I know that we have a couple of celestial events this week that can intensify that, I want you to focus, because new moons are good for this. I want you to focus on what it is you want. Remembering that one card that I pulled for air signs that showed germination, and what I reminded you about aces, which is basically that there's always a promise, but you have to deliver on that promise, investing time, energy, and vision into that. I think if you do that in this moment in time, great things await, and this is going to be a cool period for you, okay? So I like the 10 of Pentacles. It's a yes, and I'm excited to see where this takes you next, okay? Let's go ahead now and wrap it up, folks, for today. I want to say thank you for being here. So before we exit today's reading, please do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't as well. And also remember to opt into all notifications so you get those reminders before I go live. Again, follow me on social media. Remember that I don't use direct messages and I don't offer private readings. I would, however, love to have you follow me, and I do some special things across the different platforms, so give me a follow. And thank you so much for everybody who gave back today, whether it was in the form of a super sticker, super chat, or you just showed up today and spent your time. That's of value to me as well. It has been my honor and my pleasure to be here with you. Take care of yourselves. I hope to see many of you for Monday, Thursday, and Friday as I do the monthlies, next weekend for the collective, and of course on Halloween as we do our annual Halloween special here. Always special, always something exciting, so I hope you can make it. Until then, take care of yourself. Lots of love and light. I'll see you soon.